Whew. Do, 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 do. I check. Hey, come let me ask you something. What if the thing you've been trying to avoid, failure, is actually the one thing that is going to take you to your next level? Crazy, right? But what if I told you that your next breakthrough is hiding inside your last breakdown? What's going on, family? Welcome back to another amazing episode of the I'm Not Lucky, I'm Blessed podcast, the school for small business owners who wants to grow on purpose and not by accident. And as always, I'm your host, Lucky, and today I am here to talk business. But first, for those of you who just tuning into the podcast, thank you so much. My name is Lucky. I'm a personal trainer and the founder of Junkyard Fitness. I am someone who values learning over knowing. And I specifically created this platform to share whatever I learn in business and in life with someone out there who's trying to grow a business so they can learn from my mistakes and do better. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about something most people avoid like a plague, and that's failure. So picture this. God creates the universe. Boom. There's a sky, there's a star, there are oceans, there are animals. Beautiful. Masterpiece. He then created Adam and then Eve, and he sets them up in a perfect garden. No rent, no bills, just enjoyment. And all he said to them was, don't eat from one tree. Simple, right? And what did they do? Exactly what he told them not to do. They failed. They disobeyed. Now, God, who knows all things, could have just wiped them out and started all over again, rewritten the script. But what does he do instead? He adjusted. He doesn't stop loving. He doesn't stop creating. He doesn't stop giving up on mankind. Instead, he gave us a free will because he learned something in that moment that you cannot force people to love. You see, the key word is learn. He learned that you have to give them the choice and the freedom to choose. And that right there is the whole message for today's episode. Even God himself allowed failure, and he used it to reveal something so deep. So why are we running from it? Even God himself learned from failure and used it. I mean, in fact, because of what he learned, that's why we're here where we are today. There's so many people out there, including myself, who are afraid of failure. We're afraid to try something new. We're afraid to put ourselves out there. We're afraid to look stupid. We're afraid to be judged, to fall flat on our face. But let me ask you something. Who told you that failing is bad? Who made you believe that mistakes are a sign of weakness? I bet if you're like every one of us, you probably saw that growing up. You learned that as a kid. But here's what I've learned, that the most successful people that we admire and want to be like, they failed more times than we have even tried. That's real talk. I'm the type of person that I admire other people's failure. I think they are brave. But when it comes to me, I see it as a sign of weakness. That was exactly how I used to think. Wow, he's so brave. He's willing to fail. And then when I tried for myself, I feel vulnerable. And until I read Brené Brown's book, where she talked about the power of being vulnerable, I started to realize and also see my failure as bravery. That book taught me how to redefine failure. And that's what I want us to talk about on today's podcast. Let's redefine what failure really is. Personally, I think failure is a feedback. Failure is a teacher. It's a way of saying, hey, that didn't work. Try something else. You see, you don't fail because you're not good enough. You fail so you can become good enough. Let that sink in. One thing I've realized is that every failure is like a data. The problem is that most people don't sit long enough in their failure to collect that data. They just run, hide, and quit, and they waste the failure. You and I, we want to learn how to use our failure, the benefit that comes from failing, to succeed in life. So the question now is, how do you use failure to succeed? I'm going to give you a 4-step playbook on how to actually use your failures the right way. Step number 1, own it. Don't blame. Don't deflect. I want you to take full responsibility of your failure. And trust me, that is where power begins. Then step number 2, study it. Ask, what went wrong? Why did this happen? What is the strategy and the timing and the mindset? Then step number 3, apply it. The next time you try, do it differently. That's called growth. You fail once, you learn from it, you come back again, and then you try a different approach. Step number 4, share it. Your story might save someone else from quitting. You see, because I made mistake doesn't mean you have to. And that is the beauty of life. That's why we have mentors and podcasts and things like this. I'm not an expert on anything in life. Even fitness, I'm learning it. But one thing I'm an expert in, I believe, is failure. Because I failed a lot. And this is not a shameful thing. And I want to create a place where it's perfectly okay for us to share our failures. I want to share my failures with you guys. And I also want you guys to share your failures with me. Because one thing I know for sure is that I don't want you to fail where I failed. Because it will take us as humans, or humanity, race, whatever, a longer time to develop. So that's why we have podcasts like this, to share our failures. And you can also do the same thing too. And while you're sharing it, be honest about what you've been through. You never know who's watching, who's listening, or who's learning. There's so many podcasts that I've listened to and I've learned from the failures of others to make my own life better. Let me share with you guys one of my favorite failures, or the one that happened to me recently. Where do I start? Okay, so there was a time I launched a service. I thought everyone else would sign up. I spent weeks preparing and putting it all together. And then when the day came, crickets. No one signed up. Not even one person. Like, literally, no one signed up. I felt bad. I felt embarrassed, discouraged, and I wanted to quit. But instead, I asked myself, why didn't this work? And then in that moment, I realized that I didn't build enough trust first. I didn't communicate the value clearly. that I skipped the process and tried to rush to the results. So I went back to the drawing board, and this time I studied, I planned, and I built relationship. And when I brought the product out, guess what? People showed up more for it. And that wasn't because I was better. That was because I learned and I adapted and I didn't let failure stop me. And that's the same thing I want for you guys. So before we wrap up, let me leave you guys with the scripture for today's episode. Proverbs 24:16. For though the righteous shall fall 7 times, they will rise again. Listen, God didn't give up on Adam. He didn't give up on Eve. And it's not giving up on you and I. So don't quit on yourself either. Let the world laugh at your losses. Let them judge your mistakes. But don't let them stop your mission. Because you're not here to be perfect. You are here to progress. You are here to make progress and to keep growing. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the I'm Not Lucky, I'm Blessed podcast. If this episode hit home, do me a favor and please share it with someone who is going through a tough season. Someone who needs to know that their failure doesn't disqualify them, but it develops them. And don't forget, you're never lucky. You are always blessed. Now go out there and go freaking fail. Peace.